So let's keep talking about what we always talk about. Because we always talk about the same thing. For there is nothing else to talk about. There is only the self, known by many names. Somebody calls it consciousness, somebody calls it God, somebody calls it Paramatman, somebody calls it Brahman, somebody calls it Atman. Whatever we like to call it, because when we call something or when we try to define something, we use language and vocabulary. And of late, I've been telling you that all language and all vocabulary is really useless. It's just an application of mind. And the mind keeps creating these different confusions in our head. So, the best way of experiencing consciousness is in silence, because consciousness cannot be known, consciousness can only be experienced. Knowing is the virtue of the mind. Knowing is a trait of the mind. Mind always wants to know, always wants to understand, wants to control, wants to plan. And these are the qualities of the mind. But the one quality that the mind does not have is the quality of experience, experiencing. The experiencing is given to the heart or the soul or the spirit. So whenever we are stuck with issues of defining language, trying to figure out, trying to understand, be aware and alert that it's your mind kicking in. And that is where you have to freeze it. You have to, if you don't control it at that point, it becomes very difficult, because it then takes you into a spin. It takes you into a whirlpool. It gets you caught into something out of which it becomes difficult to come out. So the only way to figure out consciousness is to experience it. Okay? And to experience something, you do not need words, you do not need vocabulary, you do not need language. Is that understood so far by everybody? Because all our morning videos, every day, we are trying to break this down into small, small steps every day. And in fact, if you were to just keep following them and keep adding up every day's sessions, every day's messages and videos, actually, there is a blueprint there for you to follow in your life and to experience that consciousness. It's given in the most easiest of the ways. Okay. And I hope each one of you is actually practicing it, and each one of you is really doing manana and practice on it. Uh, and I hope we are not getting just used to these videos. Sometimes what happens is, when we get too much of everything and it is coming to us without making any effort, we become lazy. And and we have everything with us, and yet we do not take advantage of it. And that is what is maya, that is what is illusion, that is what is delusion. We become delusionary because we have everything in front of us, and yet we do not take advantage of it. And that is a Shakespearean tragedy, that you have everything. It's like water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. It's like all this knowledge, all this wisdom. We are swimming in this wisdom. We are swimming in this sea of consciousness and this ocean of love, but we are not able to, drink from it. Uh, you know, it's quite a tragedy if we are not able to do it. And I'm quite sure that each one of us is actually taking full advantage of what is transpiring, because it is unique in many ways. It's exceptional because something like this does not happen very often. And what's available today may not be available tomorrow, because things are subject to change in instant, right? So it's important to throw away all our delusion and seize the moment and make sure that we're making this as the most pivotal and the most important times of our lives, and we are able to progress towards the goal. So this consciousness is what we truly are, and which requires ourselves to be aware and alert. But what is it in day to day existence? I've spoken about this quite a few times. I thought I'll shed some more light. Uh, Actually, this awareness of our beingness, of who we truly are. Beingness, what is beingness? It's a state. We say a state of being. So it's a state that we experience, which means we are aware of our being, and that is called beingness. And this is actually neither a state of happiness, it is not a state of sadness. Actually, it does not have any attributes, because we use adjectives to define attributes. We use, if it is actionable, then we give it adverb. But if it's a noun, we say it's an adjective. We are constantly trying to define things. But when it is attributeless, when it has no quality per se, and actually it does not require any language, because it is actually a state of emptiness. In Sanskrit, it is called shunya. In Hindi, we call it khali. We call it void. We call it emptiness. What is emptiness? Emptiness is when there is nothing actually. But we don't like nothingness. And mind is not used to nothingness. And mind always wants something. Our mind is not habituated to nothingness. And it is this nothingness which drives us crazy. And it is this mind which starts to say, let's do something. Either we are listening to something, or we are talking about something, or we are we are trying to be somewhere, we want to do something, we want to be in an action mode, because we are restless. We are planning so far ahead in advance, because we don't know how to be. So the state of beingness is the state of nothingness. Because nothingness is where there is silence. I keep telling a lot of you, and I keep saying this, we have to experience the depths of ourselves in stillness and in silence. What is stillness? Stillness means not doing anything, not sending WhatsApp messages, not writing furiously, not thinking of things constantly, not jumping, restlessly and trying to do things all the time, and just passing our day from morning to evening by doing things. Morning clean, then cook, then garden, then this, then that, and then we are tired, and then we go to sleep. That is not nothingness. That is everythingness. Nothingness is that time where you are just by yourselves doing absolutely nothing. And it is the most uncomfortable and the most difficult thing because we are so used to doing something. This, because remember, it is in this emptiness and in this stillness that this whole world is created. Through silence and through nothingness, everything has been created. Even in the silence of the womb, the child was created. In the stillness of the void, the universe came in out of a black hole. From the stillness of the mind and the stillness that we experience will come the experience and that extreme state of alertness. Now you will say there's a contradiction. On one hand, I am saying there is nothingness, yet how can there be alertness in it? And it is very important for us to understand that both exist together. It's again that duality, that contradiction. How can they exist together? If there is no stillness, and if your mind is constantly full of thoughts, you are preoccupied. Your senses are engaged in something. But when you are absolutely still and silent, then all your senses are absolutely not engaged in anything, and they are not occupied or distracted anywhere. Which means, even though while you're not doing anything, they're absolutely alert because these senses are, they're like watchdogs, they're like hounds, they're always ready to pounce on something. So when there is nothing, they're waiting eagerly to pounce on something, right? So when you go into nothingness, then your awareness is heightened. And there is a difference between stillness and silence. You can be silent and yet not be still. Silence is when you don't speak. So you may not be speaking, but your mind may be full of thoughts. There may be a chatter going on in your mind. So first we have to learn to be still, which is not thinking anything, not doing anything, in a state of shavasana. What is shavasana? When you are like a corpse, a pose where you lie inert like a corpse. And when Maharishi Ramana lay down like a corpse, he actually regained self realization. So, that stillness, if you understand, is where we need to go. And that is not to worship. And that stillness is not a high energetic field. It is not feeling ecstasy, bliss, whatever. It is not feeling low or scared or whatever. It's just an attributeless state without any quality, which does not require a description. So when it is has no quality and it does not require description, you don't need language. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need to speak about it because it is. It just is. Nothingness is. Emptiness is. Beingness is. Consciousness is. Brahman is. Atman is. It is actually that simple and that ridiculous. And that is when the sense of this awareness, we keep talking of being alert. See, what happens is because these five senses are not involved and engaged in anything, our all our faculties are absolutely, while resting, they are absolutely alert. And the within you, the awareness starts to become stronger and stronger. And that's where I keep saying, be aware, be alert. This awareness is nothing but the stillness. And as you go into stillness, the alertness comes on its own. And you then start, in this silence, you start experiencing things. In this stillness, you start experiencing those things that you've never experienced before. Because now the higher self, the consciousness, starts to reveal itself. It cannot reveal itself as long as your mind is shattering. And that's why some of you who keep messaging me constantly, I've stopped answering because there is nothing that you will get by just constantly doing this. You will get every answer you need from me and from the consciousness and from universe if you become still. You don't allow me to help you from within if you keep constantly throwing this. And you keep using excuse after excuse to do that. Because if I keep encouraging you, if I keep responding to you, then you will never learn what I want to teach you, what I want you to experience. Therefore, I have to become silent. It is out of compassion that I don't answer a lot of people. It is out of compassion I do not, always give direct responses, because if I keep doing it, like a baby, you will be playing a game that takes you nowhere. And we have to grow up and we have to experience this stillness. And yet, those who surrender to me or to surrender to the consciousness in their stillness, I interact with them, and everything, every issue, every situation is resolved. Because then we allow consciousness to operate and consciousness to talk to consciousness. See, if you keep using a inferior way of communication, which is this, then the superior modes of communication, which is coming through the depths of our silence and stillness, will not, this facility of ours, this faculty of ours, will not get developed. Isn't it true? You have to develop, it's like muscles, right? Only if we exercise, the muscles will get developed. If we don't exercise, there'll be no muscles. Similarly, this muscle of inner perception, of the growing awareness, of this sense of beingness, will only develop when we exercise it, meaning to say, when we start becoming stiller and stiller. And that's when we start to gain this direct evidence of what it is about. I know it's tough. Somebody said this very beautifully 2 days back when I was talking to her. She said, it's beautiful whole day from morning to evening. I wake up in the morning and I surrender to you. I perform all my actions in surrender to you. And the entire day, until the time I sleep, I am in communion with you and I am in surrender with you. Though I do it all the time, but it is very tough. And that was a very honest and a very beautiful admission. But only that person who's practicing, because this whole, as I said, we're all swimming in this ocean of knowledge around us. We all know everything. But those who practice, there are very few who actually end up practicing what is being spoken about. And those are the ones who move forward, who not just move forward, who, who progress by leaps and bounds because they're actually walking the talk. And I'm seeing those who are practicing, their progress is visible. Their surrender, their devotion is so complete that by itself they are beginning to grow. And this is what we spoke in last Saturday's session of Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam, that the one who is fully devoted and completely surrendered will will experience the ultimate knowledge, then the ultimate truth. Because that's how it is. And if you doubt, if you challenge, if you question, if you fight, if you struggle with a person who is helping you, if you start biting that same hand, and if you try to, pick up cudgels and you start to protest, and if you start to have issues there, then of course, that is what you will experience. Because everything is a reaction, reflection, and resound of our own inner feelings. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Whatever is your inner feeling is what you are manifesting in your life. Same person, for some time, you are so devoted to the person and you swear by that person. And when it doesn't suit you, when your ego gets pricked, when you are challenged, and the same person becomes your enemy, and the same person you start to dislike and you hate. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. These are all tells you that you're still reacting. Anybody who reacts to anything, anybody who has a strong like and dislike means they're still operating from the mind. Right? And then they are still in that cycle. The same cycle from which the master, the guru, the teacher, the friend, the lover is trying to get you out of, but you're still caught into that. So as long as we are not able to, we do not get to the awareness where we can see that any reaction, and especially strong reactions that are coming in us, is a reaction and reflection of our inner state and has nothing to do with the other person, because the other person is only a trigger. The other person is only holding a mirror and showing us what's happening inside of us. And we are in denial, we are not in acceptance. And the same persona which you adore and love suddenly becomes a source of your biggest pain and your suffering. And and we keep running between this likes and dislikes, and this is where lifetime after lifetime gets stuck. It's like a dog chasing its tail. Have you seen a dog chasing its tail? Many times that it comes to the dog that it can actually catch hold of its tail. And I've seen many of them, they keep running and trying to chase their tail. We're like that. If you were to think about it, how our actions are like that, we're constantly running around in circles, but we will never catch our tail because it was never meant to be caught by the mouth. So, this requires a little bit deeper understanding and a deeper contemplation and manana, self inquiry. And we need to, all we need to do is we need to put our thoughts and our actions and what we do every day, our schedule, under a big microscope, because no one can see it better than you yourself, of how what you do during the day. And if you keep doing what you're doing, then you will end up doing what you're doing. You have to stop doing what you're doing. You have to start challenging yourself and start doing things differently, because that will break the habit of the mind. And this is something that I work with most of you. You come here, they, but it's just people don't understand it. They think that I'm trying to just be funny and trying to be tough and trying to be difficult. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just trying you to make you understand that you have to break your habits and your patterns. Because as long as you are caught up in your patterns, you will continue to keep doing all this. And then we say, I want to get self realization. I want to experience this. But you're not doing anything different. You're not trying to challenge your own self. And one day passes into another, and the second day will pass into third, and third will pass into 10th. But nothing inside shifts. So it is an inner understanding, it's an inner awareness, it's an inner experience. It has nothing to do with what's happening on the outside. And so this stillness can still be there when you are in a crowd and when you are with people. Because once you are still, you are still. And if you have to be with people, and a situation is such, you have to be with family, you have to be at with work, you have to be at somewhere, it shouldn't matter to you. It shouldn't bother you, because you have to do that. But it does not change your inner poise. It doesn't disturb your balance. And as I keep saying, being home is not a physical building or a place. Being home is being at ease, where you feel very easy. And it has nothing to do with the climate or the comforts, how comfortable your bed is, how big your garden is, how good the food that you get to eat. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's how comfortable you are within yourself. And once you achieve that comfort, then you are agnostic, you are neutral to where you are, where consciousness places you. That is when truly we can be instruments of consciousness. If I'm still wanting my comforts, if I'm still wanting to be in a certain particular place, if I still have some choices and preferences, then I am still stuck to something. I'm really not free. I'm not free for the consciousness to take me where it feels, in its opinion, where I need to be. Not where I want to be, not where my mind wants me to go, right? If I look back at my life, because, for each one of us, the best place to learn is first our own life, and then maybe the life of our loved one, right? Because we have closely examined those lives. But there can't be a better teacher in our life than our own life. And I have always learned like that. So look at me till about 14 years back. Or let's go even further back. 20 years back, I was a top corporate executive in the country. I never knew that at that time that life is going to take me one day that I am going to live in an ashram. Never imagined in my dream, right? But if I look at it, that it was not what my mind wanted, but actually it was a plan of the consciousness. I never thought I would leave a beautiful home that I had. I never thought, I never planned that I would let go of all, the the objects of comfort and luxury that I was surrounded with. I never imagined that I would ever lose my spouse. I never imagined that, I would let go of every belonging of mine and go and start teaching in a university. None of them I ever asked for. I never had any desire for, and yet they came to me. Okay. But yet, when they came to me, I went with it to see what's this dance of life wanting to show me. There was no struggle, there was just a moving with that flow. I can say that they were nothing that I chose, but it came to me. But when it comes to you, how do you deal with it? Are you angry? Are you protesting? Are you uncomfortable? Are you running out? And every time when I did something, when consciousness brought to me, I closed all other options. When I moved into ashram, I sold my house so that I never had the temptation to run back home. And I see people running back because they have an option. They make big promises, they step in, and then when they find things uncomfortable, then they abandon, bail out. It's like a parachute out because we have safe options. But in life, there is nothing called safety. If you want to really experience life, then you have to go broke. You have to go with it. You move in, you see where takes you. And if life brings those moments for you, never chicken out and backtrack. Move forward. You have to go forward. We don't run back. We don't say, oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. Mistake, let's go back. We just move ahead. We move ahead in life. And we take life with all its uncertainties, we take it in our step because we are comfortable inside. And because we are comfortable inside, everything starts to resolve itself so beautifully because you are at home and you are comfortable no matter which situation you are placed in your life. And so, if circumstances and if consciousness has brought me to this point where I am here, again living back in a home, when I had never imagined going back into a home situation again, I know that all I need to do is be aware, be alert, and be in emptiness so that I am ready for the next steps that will get rolled out. Because remember, none of this I planned. Till 2 months before I left the ashram I was staying in, I had told people that I am never going to leave this place. I'm so happy here. And within 2 months, I had actually stepped out. Right? And because when the moment comes, because you are in state of nothingness, you have absolute clarity. You're so aware that you need to do this. And then you just do it. Right? And Because you are so comfortable, wherever you are experiencing this happiness. You are smiling for no rhyme or reason. You're not doing anything, but yet you are smiling. And that is bliss. And that is the goal of life. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is the truth. The truth is that I am consciousness, which is nothing but this emptiness, which is nothing but this nothingness, which is nothing but the stillness. This is my true reality, which is devoid of doership. Because nothingness, how can there be doership? It is still, remember, it cannot do anything. Chit is the awareness of that truth. I'm aware that this is what it is. It is actually nothing to do with all the other struggles that I'm running out for, all the things that I'm wanting in life, all the running out. That is not reality. That is asatya. So once you're aware that this is the truth, this nothingness is the truth, this is that consciousness, this is that experience which I have to be in. And this experience leads me to where I need to be. And this is what brings perfection. So whatever I do, how I am able to do it perfectly is because my awareness is so heightened. I'm able to see things that a preoccupied mind is not able to see. I'm able to do things the others are not able to do, because this is the state of super consciousness or higher consciousness. There's nothing low or high in consciousness. Consciousness is consciousness. We actually put an adjective to that also: higher consciousness, lower consciousness, universal consciousness, individual consciousness. This is only to try and explain to minds which want language. Actually, consciousness is consciousness, it is nothing. So you can keep using words, but there is no use and there is no place for words here. It just is. It is just this isness. And this, once you experience that this is what it is, and you are aware of this at all times, that this is what it is, this brings that joy. And this joy, when I live this joy through every thought, word, and action, is the joy I transfer to all of you. And in this moment, that's the joy you are experiencing. It's because I am holding on to my joy. Yeah, how it gets communicated also. How am I experiencing? I've told you. This is the universal truth. And I am telling you how I am able to transfer this joy and this love, because love and joy are synonyms of each other. Read it one way, it is called happiness. Look at it the other way, it is called love. And when you understand and experience this fully, you will realize how this magic works. I can instantly connect, disconnect with everything in this consciousness. You know, these last 4 5 nights have been brilliant. I think I've hardly slept 1 or 2 hours every night, but there is so much happening in this universe that I can't tell you. But we connect, disconnect, we do what we have to do. It's beautiful. It's all just beginning to happen, at the same time. And it's it's just amazing when you can start to play in that nothingness. There's a beautiful bhajan that is just coming to my head. Uh, करता नहीं मैं कुछ भी, सब काम हो रहा है, करते हो तुम रमैया, मेरा नाम हो रहा. That I don't do anything and yet everything is happening for me. I don't do anything, you do everything, but my name is being projected. So, who is this God? Who is this Kanaya? It is actually consciousness, it is actually nothingness. Everything is, there is only, remember, there is only one doer. There is only one thing that makes everything in this universe operate, and that is consciousness, or you call it God. And you can give every, any name to that God, a Allah or a Christ or a Rama or a Sai Baba or a Krishna, whatever you want to call it. Call it by any name, whatever you like, but understand what it means, what it actually is, and experience the joy, the fullness, the beauty of that, the completeness of that. And then when you've done that, then what else matters? Nothing else matters. But we're always calculating how much money, when can I travel, what can I do. We're always calculating, we're always thinking, oh, I can't do it now. We don't even know tomorrow is going to come or not. We have no clue tomorrow we are going to be there. But yet we are always living for the future. We are always trying to be in a state other than the state we are in right now. We're constantly seeking to be somewhere else, something else, at some point else in the future, at every point of time. It's so delusionary. I know, it's so beautiful how this world operates. We are never in the moment at that time. We always want to be somewhere else. Right now there is a toothache. Tomorrow morning it might be better. Right now it's a stomach ache. Tomorrow it might be better. Today I have some, worry on my head. Tomorrow it might be better. So it's beautiful. We are always looking forward to this tomorrow, but we are never in the moment with this today. That okay, I am having this toothache. Let me make the most of this toothache at least. Let me just be in it fully instead of trying to always get out of it. We have, accept it. It is there. What can I do? So somebody is having a problem in the knees. Yeah, there is a pain happening. It has come for a reason. Okay, let me be with it. I am doing everything to deal with it, but let me be with it. Let's accept, acknowledge, accept, release, and be free from it. Don't get mentally engaged with it. Don't let it, jeopardize your experiences. So let's wrap up here. I've taken you into this journey of nothingness. On the other hand, on a lighter note, it was actually light for me because, I deal with light only. I was trying to explain, good. See, I still have some vocabulary. I can use some vocabulary to explain something which cannot be explained. So I don't know if I did any justice to this whole topic of consciousness. Uh, so I do look forward to your feedback on that. However, on another very beautiful note, I want to tell you that the energy of love is beginning to flow almost effortlessly and is coming with like a deluge. So I don't know how many of you are experiencing it. I would love to hear your experiences. But uh, I was telling Asha ji the other day, I think yesterday only, I was saying we will soon have to put locks on the gate here because the way this energy is beginning to come out, it's like pouring, it's like a roaring wave that's going out. And there's going to be a queue outside which we'll have to start managing. It's flowing. It's coming very, very strongly. And yeah, so there cannot be anything better than this, that this love has started to really flow and pour. I remember still we were talking today when we were talking that I remember before she came to India, she was saying that for many months she was feeling quite listless and lack of energy, and she just didn't want to do anything. And she said that almost the day she arrived here, and from the next day onwards, she suddenly started to feel absolutely normal, right? Because, and I think it's good. I might request her to share her experience because she's experiencing something, right? And she's staying here, and she's in that energetic field. And soon, Philippa is going to be here with us, and yeah, because the experience the mind cannot understand, and that's why I've invited you guys to come for the retreat, because that's an opportunity. Many of you have questions in your minds, and I keep telling you, please keep your questions to yourself, because with your questions you spoil your entire experience. You need to experience what it is. So learn to live in the state of not knowing anything. Then only you will experience. If you know everything, you will spoil your entire experience. So surrender and experience the ultimate energy of pure, divine, selfless, unconditional love. Because there ain't anything better than that. Yes. So, with that, I love you all, and I hope you are experiencing this love at this point of time. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.